nothing time, isn't it? And just sit.
You're on.
We're on. Welcome everybody. I advise that the council policies record the proceedings of the meetings of council on digital media to assist in the preparation of minutes and ensure that a true and accurate account of debate and discussion meetings is available and for live stream purposes. The Circular Council acknowledges the Northwest Tasmanian Aboriginal people as the traditional custodians of the country on which we stand, meet and play. We recognise their continuing connection to the land, waters and community. We pay respects to elders past, present and emerging. Attendants, we're all here. I'd ask to be upstanding for prayers, please. You're right, Ash.
We humbly pray for wisdom and clarity in discussion and debate. We ask that your light shines in our hearts and illuminates the decisions made here tonight on behalf of our community.
Thank you. Councillor Paposky, quite all right for you to remain seated through the meeting?
Good, thank you.
No apologies, no leave of absence. Confirmation of minutes from the council meeting on Thursday, 18th of January.
So moved.
Thanks, Councillor Oldacre. Seconded, Deputy Mayor. No debate. Put the motion. Those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. Any conflicts of interest? Thank you. 4.1, Mayor's Communications. There's a few there. Any questions or queries? Thanks, Councillor Oldacre.
Mr Mayor, I understand you attempted to meet with all those committees, but I understand that the Gerald Case committee, that didn't take place. Is that correct, or has it taken place since?
No, it took place. Joanne was there.
But Gerald wasn't there.
But Gerald wasn't there, no. Joseph, I was going to say Smith, Joe Morrison was there, but Gerald himself wasn't there, no. He received the invitation, so don't know. They were, as an add-on, all those meetings were quite useful and productive.
I understand that, but
Yes, Councillor Hine?
Just on Northern Management meeting that you said you attended. Who actually attended that meeting, and what notice was given to committee members?
No notes to committee members. Who did attend that? Help me, please. Councillor Collins as part of her committee.
Danny
And Shani. Shani from the
Right,
from
from the
committee.
Northern Management.
Yep.
Yep.
Effectively, it's really just a question and answer of what they had on the wish list, so that could be worked into our pre-budgeting stuff.
Yes, all right. I did put a call into the chair of that, and when I saw that, and I said, well, did you get a notification? What happened, etc., etc. And so he couldn't find it on his emails even. So whether, he's overlooked it or what, I don't know. I did ring Sally today just to sort of verify that, and she just informed me that he did respond and said yes, he was going, but obviously.
Yeah, no, but the invitations went out, and we met with all the committees, and there was a person either on the committee or, in the case of Joe, working for the place, that did attend and give some information. Any further questions? If not, I can do 4 and 4.3 together, can't I?
No, you should do.
Could I have a mover that those be noted, please? Yes. Thanks, Councillor Collins, seconded Councillor Hine. No debate. Motion, those in favour.
Aye.
Against, carried. 4.2 nil. 4.3, our council workshops. We've been through those. If we could have a mover and a second that they could be noted, please. Thanks, Councillor Dabner. Seconded by Councillor Collins. No debate. Put the motion. Those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. Public questions received in writing, nil. The council encourages community participation in its meetings through the opportunity for public questions and statements consistent with council's core values. Councillors and staff strive to ensure all people are treated with courtesy, fairness, dignity and respect. We expect our residents and ratepayers to apply similar standards in dealing with councillors. As Mayor, it's my responsibility to maintain the orderly conduct of council meetings and determine whether the question or statement is out of order due to use of offensive, objecting or defamatory expressions. I ask members of the public to show proper consideration and courtesy in these comments, and tonight I intend to give everyone an opportunity to ask 2 questions or make a statement. If they wish, if there's time for more, we will allow that. So if anyone's got a question, please come to the lectern, state your name and ask a question. That was hardly needed, but anyway. Thanks.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, John.
John McNabb from Rocky Cape. After 3 years on the council website, the results of the Communities Settlement Strategy Survey has been taken down. Is this just coincidence, or do the results not align with the new draft settlement strategy?
I wasn't aware. We'll have to take that on notice, John. I wasn't aware that it was down. We'll take that on notice.
Just another question. I actually dropped in a notice question a week ago, but obviously it didn't make the agenda.
Oh, I
on time.
apologise for that. I wasn't aware you had, John. So.
Yeah, handed it in down at the front desk.
No, sorry.
Our apologies, John. We'll chase that. But if you wish to ask now, do you know what the question was? Or?
That was the question.
Oh, that was the question. Sorry.
Oh, right.
So,
That's why hopefully I gave a week's notice so that
Yeah,
we
yeah.
an answer.
And that's why you do it. I understand that. So sincere apologies. The General Manager will chase that up.
Yep, no worries.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
6.0, Planning Authority nil. 7.1 nil, 0.2 nil. Councillors, questions without notice. Councillor Oldacre.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. My question is, I know it's a bit more difficult now because there's an election been called, but is it possible for this council and the King Island Council to get together to lobby the government or whoever they've got to do to get a freight subsidy to take some fodder to King Island, who is now in drought, so we're informed, and to take a bale of hay or silage over there. The cost is $100, as I understand, been informed, and which is excessive. But if they're struggling for feed over there, the government needs to come to the party, I believe. But you'd want King Island with.
Yep, certainly, Councillor Oldacre. I've no problems at all, because fully support. I'll touch base with Mayor Blackie tomorrow. And then if he's happy or they're happy, we'll get a joint letter away and see what we can do with it. Thank you. Further questions? Councillor Hine.
Thank you. I've actually got 3, so whether you want me to just go one at a time and then go around and give others an opportunity and...
Oh, we'll do one at a time. We'll do your 3 while you're up.
Righto, thank you. All right, 1A, can our council engineer or the relevant staff people inquire for information from Department of State Growth to inform councils as to the minimum distance by metres of the clear line of sight for the following speed limits: 60, 80 and 100 kilometres per hour. One section of the road that I'm particularly seeking that information for is the Department of State Growth section of the main road of Stanley adjacent to the current Chatouis Lookout. B, can draft plans for a suitable structure for Chatouis Lookout together with cost estimates for such a structure be included in the list of projects for this year's budget consideration? 2.
Hang on, we'll deal with that first.
Yep.
Well, I presume if they don't know, we can find it.
The minimum distance by line of sight by speed limit. I'm pretty sure our engineers would know that
Yep.
already.
Yeah, I think they would because...
There's standards.
So we'll get them to circulate that.
Yeah, all right.
Part B, that was my understanding that we've got that in the list of things to discuss come budget discussions anyway.
I'm not sure, it may be in there, but we're having the first budget workshop on the 7th of March, and that would be the place to have that discussion.
Right, so I'm giving notice now that I'd like that to be part of consideration.
Yep.
Because it was, as
Well,
Anna has
we
said-
certainly talked about it. I thought it was there to talk about.
No,
If it's not, we can deal with it.
when we did the policy, we said, we'd look in the future for,
Yep.
and so
and
I'm just
we-
ensuring that it's going to be there.
Yep.
Thank you. 2 is, for future budget planning consideration, can I as a councillor request from the engineering/road maintenance/road construction department a cost estimate to clear and reform the approximate length of 1.6 kilometres of the Old Stanley Road. And in brackets, it's the missing link that would connect that road up again from where the last section of bitumen surface ends. The cost to include culverts, etc., so that the base and the finished surface be of a similar standard grade gravel surface to the current gravel section of that road that can be entered to from the Bass Highway end of the Old Stanley Road. B for that. Can we as council be advised as to what width, the current load limit and the expected replacement date of that cement bridge that forms part of that gravel road?
Once again, Councillor Hine, that will form part of our budget discussion. When we hit our budget discussion, the time to raise it is then.
So I'll give you notice now that I'm...
Yeah, what time to raise it is then.
Yep.
Yep.
That was some, if I may,
Yes.
through you, there were some very detailed questions there, councillor, and I'd be grateful if you would email
I will,
through.
I can, and I can
Yeah.
forward that on, yes.
Yep.
Right.
Part of the, once again, part of the budget discussion.
Yep.
Yep.
3 is, on page 2 of Wednesday the 7th of February, there was reference to Tasmanian Devil Roadkill on the Walnorth Road. Can our council staff, who represents this council on that committee, give councils an update of whether the speed regulations that are now in place on sections of that road, and give us a briefing of any changes to Devil Kill numbers since that speed regulation was changed?
I can confirm that the speed reduction in that stretch of road has dropped by 10 k's per hour. The Devil Kill numbers, it's only been there for 6 months yet, so you probably need a longer period, but I'm sure that James or someone can supply that one time at a workshop for us.
Thank you.
Councillor Klaus, yep.
You said that the speed limit was dropped by 10 kilometres an hour.
The average speed limit in that section of road has dropped by 10 kilometres an hour.
It was 100, now it's 80.
Yep, so it was, but the actual speed
Actual
limit,
speed going over the road, not the speed
people
limit.
travelling on the road,
And that's it, and that's even on the back of one being timed at 140 k's an hour across it, and it's actually got just over, now Yard testing me now, but I think it's about 80.6 down from the 90 point something. So, with that, so that's the mean, and that was taken about a few months ago. They're about due to do it again. So,
Thank you.
any further questions? Thank you. Notice of motions, Councillor Flowers.
I'd like to move a motion to direct the General Manager to have a report prepared looking into the current practice of roadside spraying. Now, I've got some photos here of...
Just said Councillor Flowers.
I'll second it.
Thanks, Councillor
And I'll
Holden.
reserve my right to speak.
Yes, thanks, Councillor
I've got
Flowers.
some photos here of the roadside spraying. Well, that one there, you can all see, is the weeds. But take particular notice of the shoulder. That's what the spraying for. The shoulder there where the weeds are and the root structure is pretty good. Now, that's at South Forest. This is at South Forest on Minga Road, about 200 metres away. They've sprayed it there. The weeds haven't come back. but there's a drop-off on the shoulder, which is about 4 to 6 inches. Now, in the comments, it states they spray to look after the council assets. Well, that's not looking after council assets. It also states in the comments it's sprayed for road safety. That's not road safety. That's absolutely dangerous. And I'll give you another example. As you well know, I've been in Queensland for the last fortnight. Now, that's a road at Mareeba. They got 600 mils of rain in 6 days on that road. They haven't sprayed nothing. There's no weeds. There's no washouts. There's nothing. Perfect. Now, do we need to spray the guts out of the shoulders? I don't think we do, but we'll find this out. Thank you.
Yep, thanks, councillor Aldaker. Your reserve. Anyone else wish to speak for or against? Councillor, you can say so, councillor.
I note Councillor Flowers' evidence in front, but if he could submit that to the council office, because he's asking for a report before a decision's made, so if we can get you to give those to the council,
Yes.
and it can form part of their report, so when it comes back to us, we can study it.
No,
Thank you.
Further speakers? Councillor Hines?
Yes, I support the concept of getting a report and getting, fully informed of it all, and if we can include that as part of it as well, and probably there's contact in that particular shire that can be contacted to get more information.
Any other speakers? Yes, no?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. In supporting this motion, it's not only our roads that getting the shoulders sprayed, it's highways and things. And the weed problem that's down at the Welcome River, if anybody's been down there, you would see the state of the road on the side of the road. And that's not necessarily been just spraying the edges of the road, is the Californian thistles are an absolute disgrace. And everybody that's farming are all been asked to take care of their weeds. Some do and some don't. Some take some pride in it. And we need to be doing the same thing. What Councillor Flowers has put up where those weeds are on that section of road, that's actually held the shoulder together. But that weed creates a problem, particularly in crops and things, and we're using Roundup to spray it, whereas spraying the weeds, most of the time you're only using NPCA, though you do have to have a bit different one to spray the Californian thistles. So there's some work needs to go into this, and it is a serious thing. I remember the late Bernard Charles, who was a councillor on this council from 1993 to 2007, had the same argument that Councillor Flowers has had. Spraying it because all you do is get the weeds take off, and then they became a major problem.
Thank you. Any further? I'll be supporting on the fact that this should give us good information to set policies going forward on how we wish to do this. And there has been ongoing concern for a number of areas of the community, there's no doubt about that. No further, I'll put the motion. Those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. Thank you. Now, reports 9.1, delegations to General Manager. General Manager.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. This report comes to you as there have been a number of changes to the legislation listed in the dot points, and therefore we have to update our delegations to match the changed legislation. And it is a procedural report seeking your permission to update our delegations accordingly. Thank you.
Questions to the General Manager? If not, can I have a mover and a seconder for tonight's report?
Moved.
Thanks, Councillor Algareca. Seconded, Councillor Dabner. Wish to speak?
Self-explanatory.
No discussion. I'll put the motion. Those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. Senior Manager report, General Manager again.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I will hand straight to the Manager of Connected Communities, as there are a number of things she wishes to highlight.
Councillors, we had a pretty busy January with lots of events happening. The celebration of education, where we had scholarships awarded, which was great to see. Had our Australia Day awards and fireworks, and that was all went off really well also. And our Day on the Duck event, that's the first wet weather we've had for a number of years, unfortunately, but people still came and it was still really good. So we're really grateful for everybody that came to help set up and pack up, because it was a bit wet, so but appreciate that. Also, our grants, our community grants are open till the end of this month, 29th of February, so we're putting that out through social media and also through the Chronicle. And also coming up in February, late February and March, we're going to have our Community Connections Health and Wellbeing Roadshows. We're going to 8 locations around the district, and our team will be going out, plus a number of service providers, and we're trying to get some information about people's health, what the barriers might be, and also that might help us to inform our health and wellbeing plans that will be reviewed later in the year. So that's exciting thing happening. We did receive funding for this project, so we're really grateful to the Healthy Tasmania for that. I can give you a bit more of an update to councillors on the the Smithton Recreation Ground from when we did the report. They are finishing sowing the seed today, and they're very hopeful that everything will still be on track for it'll be playable by early May. They look to be off-site tomorrow, and then they will be coming back on a regular basis to do fertilising and any other works that's required. So they'll be keeping control in that aspect. So, and just another thing in recreation grounds, at the Repa, the really great project that the boys did there. They're to be commended, the Works and Services staff there. It looks really good, and I think it'll be excellent to keep the mud away and no vehicles being stuck in the winter time around the footy ground and everything. So that was a really good project too. So thank you.
Any questions to either Deb or the General Manager?
Did we receive funding for the Black Spot and the Anns Road Bridge?
The funding bids have been submitted.
We haven't heard back.
No, that. Hold on. I think it was approved.
Yeah, I think it was approved.
Yes, the bridge is approved.
It was successful.
Yans Road, the bridge, but we haven't heard about the guardrail. I don't know if we've had a separate one.
We'll chase it up.
Backline Road,
We'll chase it up, Raz, but
Oh yeah, the one.
Forest.
Yes.
Barriers at Forest.
That's
That
not
was the
listed
one.
though, is it? It must have been listed before.
Must have been,
Yeah.
yeah. No, it wasn't the Yans Road one.
Yeah. So
Councillor Hine?
Yeah, through to Deb. What dollars in funding was received, and where did that come from for that roadshow?
From Healthy Tasmania,
Right,
yep, and $20,000.
thank you.
So yeah, we're going around 8 communities.
Yep.
Yep. In the evening time, trying to catch.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank
So you
you.
have good tea, don't you?
Very good.
Any further questions? Not going to move in a second. The report be accepted. Thanks, Deputy Mayor. Seconded Councillor Collins. Put the motion. Those in favour?
Aye.
Against, carried. Response to formal report of Local Government Review Board. General Manager again.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. You've been through this pretty thoroughly at your workshops, and the final version there is pretty much as you've discussed. I have made the point that Council will require funding certainty if it is to proceed down this path before it goes out to the community. Obviously, the election process will delay the government of the day responding to this final report now. So we will have to wait and see what happens
Questions? Councillor Hine?
Yes, just on the last one, on the community engagement, that's identifying wellbeing priorities, etc. I just wonder whether that's actually needs to be strengthened a little bit, so that we do give that signal, and some words I've sort of roughed out, that any transfer from either federal or state government's current delivery of services or policy directives to be managed or undertaken then by the council should be in there. Then the costs associated with that transfer has to be fully funded, including recurrent and recurring funding.
Well,
That's included in there as a, you know, it's
well, the only way you can do that, Councillor Hine, would you have to move an amendment to the report.
Through you, Mr Mayor, there are also a few issues that would come with transferring responsibility from state or federal government to council. That is one of the things that we currently suffer from in another number of areas without the resources to address these. So I'd be rather cautious about asking for transfer of responsibility of the whole.
now, if there's any transfer, I'm saying.
Okay. Do you wish to move an amendment to that, Councillor Hine?
Yes, I wish to move amendment to include words to that effect.
Yep.
on
Is
that.
there a seconder to that amendment?
Well, we'll need to have the words up on the screen so that everybody can see what they're voting.
All right. Is there anyone going to move second that amendment?
If anyone's not going to second, there's no point.
There's lapses through lack of a seconder, so I think we don't need them up there. Thank you. Right. Can I have a mover? Any other comment or question? I have a mover and a seconder, please, for that response. Councillor Pilkington, seconded by Councillor Collins. No further debate?
Yes.
Councillor Post?
On the motion, you mean?
Yeah, on the motion.
Now, I'd like noted that I'm a bit unsure about, in our consulting with the community. I understand we've got to consult with the community, but I'm not quite sure whether this is saying that we don't necessarily have some vote with the community. So how's that tying up? That if the time comes and either the government forces to have a vote or we have another discussion on whether there's going to be a vote with the community or whether it's a council decision that's going to put the way forward. I was just wondering if you could let me help me out there, saying is this binding if we that it's a council decision or a voting decision?
Through you, Mr Mayor, Councillor, all we're doing at the moment is putting in a response to the board's final report. None of this, and then the government will take all council responses into consideration along with the final report, and it will make the decision. We won't be the only council suggesting that there may be no need for a community vote, but it will be up to the government of the day to decide what it wants to do in that regard.
And if they say it's optional, we're not bound to council vote only.
No.
No,
If
thank you.
it's optional, then it's optional.
It's an option, it's one or the other.
Yeah, yeah.
At this stage, the government have said that it will be a community vote. We've, whether that changes or not, at this stage, that's where they're at. We've got a commitment to ourselves, at least, that we saturate the market
Yes.
with all the information once we've got the information.
Yep.
And I, for one, is committed to making sure that as many people in Circular Head, if this gets down to the next step, as many people in Circular Head know precisely what it is so that they are voting on information rather than just feelings. So they actually got information.
Yeah, no, thanks for the clarification because at this stage I didn't want to be locked into whether it was council or voting.
Yep.
But you're saying that decision hasn't been made. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Popovsky. Any further? I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Aye. Against? Carried. Thank you. Financial reports. Rachel.
Thanks very much, Mr Mayor. Councillors, before you we have the financial reports for the period that ended the 31st of January 2024. Received no applications for the first homeowners grant, totalling 4 in total for this year. On to page 2, we have the profit and loss statement or the comprehensive income statement. Just a couple of things there to note. Grants are down. That's a note 2 on the side there. Grants are down at this point in time due to the State Grants Commission will end up paying out basically the 4 quarters of the financial assistance grants in June this year. So that will remain quite low until that's paid. And also we're sitting quite well in terms of the surplus deficit compared to our budget for year to date. In terms of page 63, we have total community equity of 272, nearly 273 million. We also have cash at bank balance of 19.5 million. We've only got one, really, the financial assistance grants and the last instalment of rates are probably our two biggest sources of income to come in between now and 30th of June, and most of it's actually just expenditure between now and then. So in terms of receivables, we've got a proportion uncollected of 10.86 compared to 9.91 same time last year, so a little bit more outstanding this year compared to last. There's also some invoices in there for the roads at the bottom in point 2 for 457,000 that have been on there for quite a while now, and I know they've been chased up, so I'll chase them up again and find out actually what's happening with those. We have the cash at bank, the online saver and the cash investment, so they're the accounts and our cheque account and our investment accounts and what percentage rates we're getting for those. And we also have the service area reports for the program areas and the cash and investments graph. So I'll present that for Council's consideration, Mr Mayor.
Thanks, Rachel. Any questions? If not, could I have a move and a second that the financial report be adopted? Councillor Collins, seconded Councillor Dabner. No debate. I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Aye. Against? Carried. Policies for adoption.
I'll go again. Thank you, Mr Mayor. Councillors, we have 2 new policies before you tonight. The first one is a suicide intervention policy and a set of guidelines, and the next one is a private works policy. The suicide prevention policy, I'll just get down here. This policy, I'll read actually probably from the policy on this one. The policy and guideline describe ways to identify and address the needs of workers who are exhibiting suicidal ideation or behaviour. So it's a process that we can go through as workers of an organisation, which includes counsellors, to identify some common signs and the assessment of the process that you'll go through in that situation. So it's there to help our staff if we do encounter those feelings of that people at that point in time. So just a really good one to have for staff on the books, and we also do have our employee assistance program and other things in place as well internally to be able to help there. So we have been touched by this before in the past. So the next one is the private works policy. The TADS Audit Office did a performance audit of the 29 councils in the state in regards to their governance around private works. And it was found that a lot of the councils were fairly lax in this space, but a lot of the councils also didn't do a lot of work. So we didn't have a policy in place, but the amount that we actually charged out for those private works during the year was under $10,000. So it wasn't a huge amount, considering that we have around $16-17 million of income in a year. So. But the recommendation from the performance audit was that we get a policy in place and also a fee structure, which Vanessa kindly let them know we do by February. So basically it's a protection mechanism for staff. So what it's trying to stamp out is fraud in the public sector. So if, say, private works might be generally in local government, it's things like somebody wants their driveway sealed, or they want you to build a fence for them or do something like that. So there's works there that the depot are skilled to do. and we charge those out at a cost. So what they're saying is that we need to have some mechanisms in place that it goes through an approval process, especially if we know the people. So, so what this one does is it splits it into two, under 10,000 and over 10,000, and there's a process in place for staff members to follow for that. What we found out was with the $10,000 that most of them were probably excluded from the process anyway because they were fire abatements, so which comes under a different act, and the other one was stormwater connections, which is under a different act as well too, so they're actually excluded. So we basically, I think, had $500 in private works for that year. So overall, we're going pretty well in that space. We just actually need to have the policy in place. So two pretty good policies to have in place for the protection of staff. So I'll present them for Council's consideration, Mr Mayor.
Thanks, Rachel. Any questions in relation to those before we... If not, could I have a mover and a second that those two policies be adopted? Thanks, Councillor Dabner. Seconded, Councillor Flowers. No debate? I'll put the motion. Those in favour?
All right.
Against? Carried. What do we got? 9.6.1, some correspondence. Thank you from Vicky, I get it right, Purnell, our Australia Day ambassador. And I must comment on her address, was very, very well received and very good. Then we go to minutes of other bodies. Stanley Town Hall, December minutes. Comments or questions? Then get to Health and Wellbeing Collective, January meeting. Comments or questions? Councillor Pilkington?
I'd just like to, is Oka Health invited to these and they don't come?
Correct. They do receive the minutes though,
Yeah.
Councillor Pilkington.
I just think it's an important part
We do.
of the health collective and we should be encouraging them to come.
Great. Any further questions or comments? We've got Western Area Management Committee, a series of minutes.
There's an annual one there that's got to be passed separately. But can I say there is a mistake in that annual one? It's because I was in attendance. I'm not in that one, it's the...
What,
Is the right...
This is 22. Date on that. On the one that's in there.
Well, I wasn't on the committee then, probably.
So there were, there's more, where?
But there has been an annual meeting which took place in July.
Right, speaking through.
So July 20th.
Costs.
Yeah, the
No, I
minutes are
stand to
there.
be correct, because there was a lady's funeral that upset the whole works, and that might have been the July, and then they never had one till September. But it was still an annual meeting.
That one hasn't come to us by the look of it as yet in these. But we will deal when it does. Okay. So can I have a move and a second of that 9.6
So moved.
be adopted? Point 1 and point 2, moved Councillor Flowers, seconded
Beg your
Councillor...
pardon, sir?
Sorry, Councillor Oldacre. Seconded Councillor Hine. And I'm not sure which of the councillors are most upset with me.
Both of them.
No debate, I'll put the motion.
If you really want to just sort of take note, I do have a bit of a neck. Somebody else does.
I'll put the motion up, Councillor Flowers. I'll put the motion up in favour, against, carried. My apologies, gentlemen. Now I need a motion to resolve by absolute majority that the matters listed be considered in closed meeting.
So moved.
Thanks, Councillor Oldacre. Seconded Councillor Hine. Put the motion, those in favour? Against, carried, and I need another motion to close the public meeting.
So moved.
Thanks, councillor Holgrove, seconded councillor Hyde. They're on the roll. The motion,
Aye.
carried.